SpaceX marks 250th Starlink mission. Falcon 9 launches and lands smoothly on April 27th. On the windswept morning of April 27th, 2025, at precisely 7:16 a.m. Eastern Time, the skies above Florida's Cape Canaveral Space Force Station were once again illuminated by the roar of rocket engines as SpaceX marked its 250th Starlink mission. The Falcon 9 rocket, a veteran of numerous previous flights, rose gracefully from Space Launch Complex 40, SLC-40, carrying with it dozens of Starlink satellites destined to expand the company's ambitious global internet constellation. Just minutes after liftoff, the rocket's first stage separated and executed a flawless landing on the droneship A Shortfall of Gravitas, stationed patiently in the Atlantic Ocean. For many observers, such scenes have almost become routine, a testament to how SpaceX has redefined what's possible in spaceflight. Yet this mission, the 250th dedicated to Starlink alone, represents far more than a number. It marks a culmination of years of innovation, resilience, and vision, an evolution that has fundamentally reshaped the space industry and promises to reshape global communications for generations to come. The birth of an idea, how Starlink began. The seeds of Starlink were planted long before the first satellite launched. In 2015, Elon Musk publicly unveiled SpaceX's ambitions to create a vast constellation of small satellites capable of providing affordable, high-speed internet to every corner of the globe. In a world where nearly half the population still lacked reliable internet access, the idea was as revolutionary as it was audacious. Skepticism abounded. Experts warned of insurmountable costs, technical hurdles, and regulatory challenges. Launching and maintaining thousands of satellites seemed like a logistical nightmare. Even if the system could be built, could it be profitable? Could it avoid clogging Earth's already crowded orbits with dangerous debris? SpaceX, however, pressed forward relentlessly. Years of quiet development, regulatory filings, prototype testing, and iterative design improvements led to the launch of the first 60 operational Starlink satellites in May 2019. From that humble beginning, the constellation grew at an unprecedented pace. By April 2025, SpaceX had launched more than 6,000 Starlink satellites, with approximately 5,500 currently active. Starlink today services over 3 million customers across 80 countries, from research bases in Antarctica to remote villages in Africa, disaster zones in Asia, and mountain lodges in South America. The dream of global, accessible internet was no longer theoretical. It had become reality. Falcon 9, the workhorse of the Starlink revolution. Central to Starlink's explosive growth has been the reliability and reusability of SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket. Originally debuting in 2010, the Falcon 9 went through a series of evolutionary improvements leading to the now legendary Falcon 9 Block 5, designed for rapid reuse with minimal refurbishment. The April 27th launch used a first-stage booster, making its 15th flight, a feat unimaginable just a decade ago, when rockets were still regarded as expendable, single-use machines. By perfecting propulsive landings on both drone ships at sea and landing pads on land, SpaceX dramatically reduced the cost of reaching orbit. This operational model, unique in the launch industry, enabled the rapid, affordable deployment of the vast Starlink constellation. No other organization, governmental or private, could match SpaceX's cadence or cost efficiency. The booster from the April 27th flight was already a veteran of satellite launches, cargo resupply missions to the ISS, and previous Starlink batches. It's no exaggeration to say that without Falcon 9's reusability, Starlink could never have reached 250 launches this quickly, said Dr. Lara Chung, aerospace analyst at Orbital Watch. SpaceX didn't just innovate on one axis. They simultaneously mastered launch, operations, network management, and regulatory navigation. The April 27th launch, a textbook operation. The liftoff itself was flawless. After the final countdown, Falcon 9's 9 Merlin engines roared to life, generating 1.7 million pounds of thrust and lifting the rocket off the pad in a spectacular column of flame. Weather conditions were near perfect, with light winds and clear skies, providing excellent visibility for the hundreds of onlookers gathered along the space coast. Separation of the first and second stages occurred about 2.5 minutes into the flight, after which the second stage ignited its Merlin vacuum engine to carry the Starlink payload to orbit. The first stage, meanwhile, began its controlled descent, executing a series of burns to slow and orient itself for landing. At just over 8 minutes post-liftoff, the booster descended onto the deck of A Shortfall of Gravitas, surrounded by applause in the Mission Control Center. The recovery was described internally as one of the smoothest to date, reflecting SpaceX's continual refinement of landing techniques. The second stage released its satellite payload as planned, deploying the Starlink satellites in a precise, staged sequence. Each satellite will now use onboard ion thrusters to slowly raise its orbit to operational altitude, joining the constellation already blanketing the globe. How Starlink is changing the world. Beyond the technological triumphs, Starlink's real impact is felt on Earth. In rural Mongolia, schoolchildren use Starlink connections to access online learning resources for the first time. In hurricane-ravaged coastal towns in the Philippines, emergency responders rely on Starlink dishes to coordinate relief operations. Arctic researchers stay connected to their home institutions via high-speed links beamed through the vast constellation. Starlink has also proven to be a critical tool in geopolitical crises. In Ukraine, where terrestrial networks have been attacked and destroyed, Starlink has provided resilient communications for military and humanitarian uses. In war zones and disaster-struck regions, the ability to deploy mobile, self-contained internet units has saved lives and changed outcomes. Starlink is doing what we hoped it would do, said Gwynne Shotwell, president and COO of SpaceX, during a press briefing after the launch. It's providing access where none existed before. It's connecting the disconnected. And this is just the beginning. The future of Starlink, direct-to-cell and beyond. SpaceX's ambitions for Starlink are far from fulfilled. The company is now preparing to deploy second-generation satellites with vastly enhanced capabilities. Among the most exciting developments is direct-to-cell connectivity, allowing ordinary smartphones to connect directly to Starlink satellites without any specialized hardware. The initiative, developed in partnership with major telecom operators like T-Mobile, could eliminate coverage black spots worldwide, enabling reliable messaging, voice, and eventually data services even in the most remote deserts, mountains, and oceans. Additionally, SpaceX's next-generation Starship vehicle, currently undergoing testing in Texas, promises to accelerate Starlink deployments dramatically. A single Starship launch could carry hundreds of satellites at once, allowing SpaceX to build orbital capacity for new services, including encrypted government communications, real-time Earth imaging, and future Mars communications relays. We are entering the era of the truly global, space-based internet, said Dr. Anya Patel, telecommunications expert at the International Space Society. SpaceX is not just competing with traditional ISPs. They are redefining what connectivity means. Challenges ahead: regulation and space sustainability. Despite its triumphs, Starlink's expansion has not been without controversy. Astronomers have raised concerns about satellite reflections interfering with ground-based observations, prompting SpaceX to implement a series of countermeasures, including darkening satellite surfaces and adjusting flight operations. There are also increasing worries about orbital congestion. As the number of satellites in low Earth orbit grows, so does the risk of collisions and debris creation, a phenomenon known as the Kessler syndrome. SpaceX has worked to address these risks by designing satellites with autonomous collision avoidance and ensuring rapid deorbiting protocols at end of life. Global regulatory frameworks are struggling to keep pace. The United Nations Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space has held multiple emergency sessions to discuss how to manage the sudden proliferation of private satellites. Yet most experts agree. The genie cannot be put back in the bottle. The era of commercial megaconstellations is here, and SpaceX has blazed the trail. A moment to reflect. Humanity's growing presence in space. The 250th Starlink launch stands as a symbol of how far humanity has come in opening up the space frontier. What was once the realm of superpower governments and billion-dollar state programs is now within the grasp of private companies, driven by a mix of vision, necessity, and entrepreneurship. From the launch pads of Cape Canaveral to the snowy outposts of Antarctica, from remote Amazonian villages to bustling megacities, the fingerprints of space technology are increasingly visible in everyday life. As the sun rose higher over the Atlantic, casting a golden glow over the safely landed Falcon 9 booster aboard A Shortfall of Gravitas, it illuminated not just the ship, but the future itself. A future where space is a bustling extension of human civilization, woven seamlessly into the fabric of our lives. SpaceX's 250th Starlink launch is more than just a technical achievement. It is a glimpse into that future, a testament to what is possible when ambition is matched with action and dreams with determination. And if the past 6 years have taught us anything, it's that this is just the beginning.